Number 10. The Fake Dentist. A Georgia woman posed as a dentist and operated on patients' mouths for 6 years without having a license. This malpractice started in 2012 and ended in 2018 after she was arrested twice in 2 weeks. 47-year-old Krista Sheftrick was taken into custody on August 23rd and charged with 40 counts of practicing dentistry with no license, as well as 3 counts of writing unlawful prescriptions. Police say she put the health of those who trusted her at a major risk because she wasn't technically a dentist. Krista was put in handcuffs and hauled off to jail after she got busted installing a crown into the mouth of a woman named Sylvia Ferguson. But Sylvia wasn't the only one to complain about the shoddy dentist work. A man named David Marsh said he had an abscess the size of a tennis ball after allowing Krista to work on him. He was supposed to have 2 teeth removed and some cleaning done, but she ended up ruining his face. He couldn't close his throat and had to go to the emergency room for surgery. He had to have a tube put in his mouth and through his neck to get all the toxic fluid drained out. Even more horrifying is how she got away with it for so long. She had been warned about working as an illegal dentist before, but according to District Attorney Matthew Rollins, she had gotten away with it because her husband was the deputy sheriff. It took 6 years for them to finally shut down her bogus dental operation. Number 9. Inappropriate anesthetics. In early 2022, a dentist in Maryland was charged with murdering his girlfriend. Dr. James Ryan, an oral surgeon working out of Germantown, was caught killing Sarah Harris, his girlfriend, who happened to be about half his age. She was discovered dead inside his home in Clarksburg on January 26th. Police say she died from an overdose of anesthesia solutions that James had been giving her through an IV. There's absolutely nothing normal or sane about this case. Police discovered bottles of propofol, diazepam, ketamine, and midazolam in Ryan's house. They also uncovered syringes, tourniquets, and hypodermic needles. All of these things are typically reserved for clinical settings, yet James Ryan had been using them to administer highly addictive solutions to his young girlfriend in the privacy of his house. When the police looked through messages sent between Ryan and Harris, they discovered she had been the one asking for these types of drugs. She wanted the dentist to take them from his practice. He agreed to do it. The text messages also revealed James Ryan had given Harris instructions on how she could have a better time when using the dangerous drugs. The pair had met earlier when Sarah became a patient of his. First, she was a patient. Then the dentist gave her a job working as a technician, and later they became romantically involved. She had been an aspiring model who competed at a competition at Miss Maryland back in March of 2021. It appears that the dentist cured her romance by supplying a constant stream of drugs. In the end, it's still not clear what exactly happened. We don't know if the dentist made her overdose on purpose. We don't know if it was an accident. All we know is that he supplied the drugs that killed Sarah, and he's now looking at over 70 years in jail for murder. Number 8. The Strangler. In 2018, a dentist in Los Angeles was arrested for strangling his own mother to death in exchange for life insurance money. The terrible and tragic killing took place on October 10, 2017, but it took months for the Beverly Hills police to finally put Daniel Jacoby behind bars. Daniel's mother, Violet Jacoby, was discovered unconscious inside her home in Beverly Hills. Daniel said he and his sister had gone to check on their mom when they couldn't get a hold of her, only to find someone had strangled her. Through the police investigation, they learned Daniel had been the one that put his hands around his mother's throat for financial gain. Even though he was a top Beverly Hills dentist, someone who had worked on the mouths of celebrities, he still killed his own flesh and blood, all just to benefit from the financial fallout of his mother's passing. Number 7. Pulling teeth. A woman in Nevada broke into a dentist's office, stole cash, and then pulled 13 teeth out of a patient who was lying unconscious. According to the Washoe County Police, this happened on 2 separate occasions. Her name is Laurel Ike, and she is not even a dentist, but she did work at a dental office in Nevada. After she had left her job, she went back to the office and stole over $22,000 in cash in the spring of 2021. Then she came back on a different day to torture a random patient. She used anesthetic that had been disposed of by the office previously to put the patient to sleep, and then extracted 13 teeth. Sadly, the sheriff's office has refused to give the specific details on the tooth extractions. All they said was that she did them on her own time and for her own reasons, but they wouldn't elaborate or give details on the patient. What we know is that Laurel is clearly insane. Last we heard, she's being charged with grand larceny, burglary, and surgery without a license. Number 6. The double life. Burt Franklin was arrested on the 20th of July 2016 in connection to the death of Lincoln Van Henry Lewis. Lincoln was only 19 months old. The Oklahoma dentist was accused of, and we're sorry to put this terrible image in your mind, but it's necessary to understand the facts, beating the infant to death with his bare hands. Prosecutors alleged that the dentist hit the boy in the head and caused him to hemorrhage from both eyes. It was absolutely despicable, and there couldn't be a jail sentence long enough for someone who would do such a thing. Burt was a relatively successful dentist at the time of the murder, a man who was married with 4 children of his own, but he had been living a double life. Burt was involved in an affair with Roxanne Lewis Randall, Lincoln's mother. They had been seeing one another for over a year. According to what Roxanne told police, she was downstairs in her home when she heard a thud from the upstairs bedroom. Burt said the thud was from a ball that he had thrown for the puppy. He said the baby was sleeping and that everything was okay. When she checked on the child in the morning, he was lying still in his crib. When she took him to the hospital, doctors informed her the marks appeared to be from abuse, and they called the police themselves. It turned out the dentist hated having to deal with his mistress's ex, Lincoln's father. He thought that by somehow getting rid of the child, he wouldn't have to deal with the annoying ex-boyfriend anymore. His decision to take such a young and innocent life, something only a true monster would do, got him life in prison, without the possibility of parole. Number 5. The armed dentist. A Long Island dentist was arrested in February of 2022 for storing a ridiculous number of guns inside his home which doubled as his dental practice. His name is Paul Carey, and police were called to his residence in Massapequa after he was ratted out by his secretary. His secretary told the cops she saw him through a window of the 2nd floor, wielding a weapon. According to the police commissioner, Patrick Ryder, she also said that he appeared agitated and intoxicated, and that she heard him racking a shotgun. She ran for the house and phoned 911, terrified he was about to go on a killing spree. The police responded and arrested the dentist without incident, then raided his house. They found 20 illegal long guns, 18 of which were totally untraceable. These are called ghost guns, and they're privately made firearms put together by crafty people in basements using parts they got online. They discovered over 60 high-capacity mags, over 3,000 rounds of ammunition, and enough weaponry for this man to start an army. Police say Paul had been licensed to carry a pistol, but that license was revoked back in December of 2012. He had been caught shooting off rounds in his backyard. This time, Paul was charged with several counts of criminal possession of a weapon. Going forward, he probably won't be getting much more dental work. Number 4. Breaking teeth. A dentist in Wisconsin was recently caught intentionally breaking his patient's teeth so that he could fix the damage himself and make more money. This despicable man's name is Scott Charmoli, and according to NBC News, his scam made him millions of dollars. After he broke his patient's teeth, he would file claims with insurance companies to pull in even more cash. His practice was called Jackson Family Dentistry, and he was intentionally breaking smiles here between 2015 and 2019. He sold the practice before he was caught, but in late 2020, after quite a long investigation, he was finally indicted on several charges, and in 2022, a federal jury convicted the dentist on 5 counts of healthcare fraud. The prosecution argued that in 2015, Scott the dentist became aggressive with his patients. He tried to convince them to get crown procedures even if they didn't need them. Frustrated, he started using his drill to break off parts of his patients' teeth just so he could install the crown. The insurance companies believed the damage was real, and so they always paid his claims. And at the same time, he was raking in money from his patients as well. In total, prosecutors say Scott billed over $4.2 million in crown procedures between just 2016 and 2019, and from only one insurance company. Number 3. The dentist dealer. Yet another dentist in Long Island has gotten into some serious trouble. This time, it wasn't a lunatic with a bunch of ghost guns. It was a drug-dealing old man. Barry Arnold has been caught prescribing prescription medication in exchange for intimate favors. Police say he prescribed oxycodone, Percocet, and Xanax to several victims who were already drug addicts between October 2016 and August 2020. But these prescriptions came with a price. He traded them to women who were down on the luck and desperate in exchange for personal favors. These personal favors were usually handed over after business hours inside his dental office in Lynbrook. But every now and then, he would also bring these drug addicts to his home and make the trade there. And according to prosecutors, these were not even Barry's dental patients. They were just people he found on the street who were in desperate need of cheap drugs. And beyond these services they rendered, he also received a kickback, usually a handful of pills from his victims' prescriptions. But that's not all. He was also caught smoking crack cocaine with his victims and using nitrous oxide, which he also used for dental procedures in his office. After his arrest, he was released on a bond of $200,000 under the terms that he would no longer write prescriptions. But amazingly, he was allowed to go straight back to work at his own dental office. He basically paid $200,000 and was able to go right back to life as usual. Number 2. The hoverboard dentist. A dentist who was caught extracting teeth while standing on a hoverboard got in more trouble than the dentist who smoked crack and wrote illegal prescriptions to drug addicts. This dentist comes to us from Anchorage, Alaska. He has already been convicted on dozens of charges after he was filmed pulling a patient's tooth out of their mouth while balancing on a hoverboard. His name is Seth Lockhart. He was found guilty on 46 felony and misdemeanor counts at the Anchorage Superior Court in January of 2020. The patient was Victoria Wilhelm, who testified against Lockhart in court. She said that not only did she never consent to being filmed while under sedation, but she also didn't agree to being operated on by a man on a hoverboard. She didn't even know the video was out there until investigators contacted her. The dentist has been charged with unlawful dental acts, but also with medical assistance fraud. He was caught billing Medicaid for procedures that were never necessary. And on top of that, he was caught stealing $25,000 by diverting funds from the Alaska Dental Arts and other organizations straight into his own pocket. Seth Lockhart was sentenced to 12 years in jail. He went from being a filthy rich dentist to a lowly prisoner. Number 1. The fake kidnapping. In 2014, a 12-year-old boy faked his own kidnapping just to get out of seeing the dentist. It happened in France, and the lengths this kid went through are almost unbelievable. Instead of getting his teeth jacked like he was supposed to, he lied, and he said he had been kidnapped. He said that as he was on his way to the dental appointment, a man asked him for directions, then forced him into his vehicle and sped off. The boy told authorities he was only able to escape when the man briefly stopped his car. As you can imagine, the police immediately set off on a wild goose chase. They spent a full month investigating the kidnapping. It was only after they viewed surveillance tapes and put the pieces together that they realized that the kid had been playing hooky from the dentist. He finally had to tell the truth, that he was afraid to get his teeth cleaned. And because he was only 12, there wasn't much the cops could charge him with for wasting their precious time. Thanks for watching. Would you rather have 5 teeth pulled out by a psycho dentist or get your pinky toe sliced off with a steak knife? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.